One time I had an idea for a drawing for a whole year. For a whole year, that idea was sitting in my head, haunting me. I think about this drawing very often, and me thinking about it constantly made it feel as though I had already drawn it, even though I hadn't even touched the pencil or opened my sketchbook to start the sketch. Then I kept making up excuses as to why I couldn't draw it. I was like, oh, I have school, I don't have time, la la la. I would just keep giving myself random excuses as to why I couldn't just start the drawing. I even had summer break and I was like, oh nah, I can't do it. I'm working. Girl. Then I felt disappointed and honestly kind of sad that I was just sitting there with the idea in my head with no execution. I felt awful. It was actually this drawing right here. In this video, I wanted to talk about how you can avoid this feeling by simply taking action. Tip number one is that know that nobody's gonna do it for you. This is your craft, your responsibility, and your passion. So nobody's gonna be there to tell you.
I feel like this is the hardest part about being a creator is that that accountability is 100% on you. You don't have people to lean on or baby you along that process, which makes it very difficult if you're transitioning from, the conditioned mind of, since you were a kid of, getting a homework assignment, uh, having a due date for that assignment, getting graded on it. And, that follows you all the way into adulthood when you enter the workforce. And to get into the creative realm in any aspect, those projects, the completion of those projects, the process of working on those projects, everything is kind of on you. It's on your shoulders. And that's a lot to burden for many of us, even people that are creative, that weighs on you. And so I think when you're on that process of becoming more creative and trying to kind of heal that conditioned mind, like I said, it's gonna take time, man. It's gonna take time. That's why a lot of people do stuff on the side until they can fully support themselves or whatever, because it's hard to be a full-time anything in the creative realm. So, and not just from like a money-making aspect, but from being able to do that continuously just takes a lot of mental energy because we're so used to, the paycheck every 2 weeks or, being told what to do, that even when you are doing it and making money from it, you still can't really trust it enough to make that leap fully. So, yeah.
Do this, do that. You are your only driving force. There's a reason why you're you and you have this skill, this talent. Sometimes I see people saying, oh, I don't know how to start. Well, open your sketchbook first of all and get you a pencil and literally draw one line. Like, start with that.
10,000 hours.
There's a start right there in that one line. If you want to do better than just a line, you got to do the research. You got to put in the hours too, because sometimes we're just too impatient. Be able to get to the point where you own the craft and it doesn't own you. I know what it's like not wanting to draw or paint anything. I used to make these like cringy little TikToks about how my paintings or drawings weren't gonna finish themselves. And when I look back, I cringe so hard because I could have used that time making that TikTok to just finish the drawing. Here's another thing also. It's not about motivation. It's not about working extremely hard until your head hurts. You gotta be working smarter. I'm gonna show you how to keep that creative spark alive without getting haunted by your own ideas. Start small, set small goals. So
The first step in any creation is the inception of the idea, right? And then from there, you take, the small steps into, finalizing it and going from here to the outside world, into physical reality, right? Let's take a puzzle piece. It's like puzzle pieces to, a puzzle, whatever is what I'm trying to say. But let's take like a short film, for example. You have the idea, obviously, for whatever the story is, and then you write a treatment or outline for it, and then you finally write the actual script. Okay, now you have an actual product that you can do something with. So then from there, you network and meet people. You need a sound guy, you need a lighting guy, you need a cinematographer. So you go to events and maybe you meet people at these events. I'm talking about like industry type of events, or you just network around your city, and you cold email people or something. Whatever you have to do to get in front of these people, and then from there, these ideas have their own way of continuing to come into fruition. What I mean by that is maybe you meet up with that sound guy, and then he reads the script and he's like, oh wait, yeah, I know someone who'd be a perfect actress for this. And you're like, oh cool, what's their number? I'd love to, connect with them or something. Grab their number, you grab coffee with that person. You're like, oh yeah, they're great for this. And then from there, maybe you hang out with them again or something. I'm talking about that actress now. You hang out with them again, and then they invite you somewhere, and you're like, okay, cool. And then your friend, your new actress friend is like, oh yeah, I'd love to introduce you to so and so. So and so ends up being a cinematographer. And then you're like, oh wait, yeah, I'm actually looking for a cinematographer. And I'm obviously romanticizing it, but there's this quote where it's like, you do something great and your network is built around you. It comes to you almost. So as long as you have that idea and you're taking the necessary steps, nothing is out of your reach. There's no ambition that's too great. As long as you're willing to do that work and meet the right, and those people will come into your life. So I guess what I'm saying is like trust the process, pretty much. Like
The key to tackle a big drawing or a big project is to divide it into multiple smaller projects within that same one. So for example, instead of drawing or trying to finish a whole drawing in one day, try to decide which part of the drawing you want to work on. So you basically decide what stage you want to be in the next day. Don't make the task itself a huge deal. For example, when I want to draw every day,
it's the reps, right? It's like getting up every day and then doing that thing. I think that we get so attached to the end result that it makes the task almost impossible to fathom. You're like, oh my god, like if I want to do this huge thing, then I need this much money and I need this many people, and I need to. But if you detach from that and focus on what you have to do every day, every week, every month, then after a year you've made significant progress. Maybe you've even finished that thing. Obviously more bigger projects might take you more than that. They might take you multiple years, maybe even a decade or longer. But as long as you're doing the day-to-day tasks like that and you're holding yourself accountable, like we talked about in the beginning, again, nothing is impossible. So you have to, it's just a matter of consistency. That's what I found. Like a lot of these things that we find esoteric, it really just comes down to just consistency and being able to show up every single day. That really is like 50% of it. The other, 40% might be knowing the right people. And then I'm telling you, just that 10% is the actual product or the actual thing. Of course, you have to have, that's considering that is a strong 10%. Hopefully you have a really good piece of work. But 40% of it is the people, man. And then 50% is just showing up. And if you can do that consistently, then, you'll eventually finish that thing. Yeah.
Myself, all I gotta do is draw something for 10 to 15 minutes, and it's fine if it's ugly, I tell myself that, and I give myself the freedom to just stop after those 10 minutes. But funny enough, I usually want to keep going. And if you do this every day for 7 days, you've basically spent 105 minutes on drawing that week, which is better than nothing if you ask me. Setting small goals also helps you to stay disciplined because you reach them fast.
It's also important to note that people have different ways as to how they approach their work. Like some people are like, I have to write or I have to paint at 7 a.m. every morning or right before I go to bed or something for an hour. And then other people are like, you know what, I work better doing like little 15-minute bursts throughout the day or something. But you just take into account that you're not entitled to your you're entitled to your labor, but you're not entitled to your fruits. Meaning, you're entitled to putting in that work, and everybody's entitled to do it in their own way. Just just detach from the end result. That person who's doing those 15-minute bursts every day, as long as they're consistent with it, it might take them longer than the person who's doing it an hour every day. But in the end, they're both going to reach their goal if they continue on that path. So you're entitled to the way you work. You're just not entitled to the fruits. So that comes over time. That comes over repetition. And if you want to distance yourself from your competition, not saying that creation should be a competition, but if you want to distance yourself from other people who might be trying to pursue the same thing you're pursuing, you have to do it more consistently. You have to have a more strict regimen that you follow to eventually get you to that goal, to where you might, you're a better creator, or you've honed your craft, I should say. But that just takes showing up.
I hate deadlines. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like them at all. I hate having to finish a painting in a certain time frame, but something that art school taught me was to stick to these deadlines and actually finish my drawings. I used to not finish any of my artworks back in the day, and I was a mess. I'm not gonna lie, like a messy mess, especially if it was a bigger scale painting or drawing. So if you have that negative outlook on deadlines like I do, please understand that they're there for your own benefit. If you tell yourself, okay, I have 10 days to finish this, and you promise yourself this, you're more likely to finish that painting or drawing. There's something important in that. A deadline is essentially you communicating with yourself. Many times we don't think before we draw. We mostly think before we speak. But I believe that if we applied that same energy to our drawings and had a more conscious approach, we would have more clarity on what to do and why. Get out of your I'll do it later era, because you have 10 to 15 minutes. Come on. You just got to make the conscious decision to spend those minutes on drawing and not scrolling, for example. Know that it's better to start than not. Many of us are perfectionists. I be wanting my work to look refined, like perfect, and just really...
For those of you who claim to be perfectionists, tell me one thing in your life that you've done that was perfect. Blew my mind when I first heard that, and I was like, oh man, they're right.
Amazingly, I just want a good look to it. Thinking like this can stop you from starting at all. It is a huge stressor to put on yourself when you haven't even started the drawing yet. You're like, oh, it has to be perfect. I gotta do it work, like make it work. You haven't even started, so you don't know what to do to make it work, because you don't know what's going to happen when you do start. So please, just take out the sketchbook and just start. Just start with something. It doesn't have to look perfect when you start. At school, we're actually encouraged to make mistakes so that we can fix them later. Drawing is a game of adjustments. Small adjustments that end up being masterpieces. Your idea in your head won't magically appear on paper or on canvas. So make mistakes until you get close to your desired results. Prioritize the fun aspects. When the creativity is high and the will to draw is low, you probably won't be able to draw something that you don't find amusing or fun to draw. If we're being completely honest here, the main reason why we draw or keep fighting...
I think this is where we also need like the balance of because she makes a really good point. Like you have to make sure that it is still fun. You don't want to just burn yourself out and then hate that thing or that craft that you were so passionate about. So I think working, allowing yourself to work, but then giving yourself a break maybe, and then just living life a little bit, getting some inspiration from that, and then going back to the sketchbook can make a lot of difference. And also just help not to burn you out, because that's the goal. Just we want to keep doing this for hopefully our entire life, right? So
to draw is because we found it fun once, and we know that we love it deep down. We just don't know what. So instead of trying to find yourself, find the part of the process that you love. It could be the part where you come up with ideas. It could be the part where you do the small thumbnails, where you just gather information, or you can even enjoy taking pictures of yourself to draw later. Whatever it is, prioritize that. The more fun you have making art, the more likely you are to keep going with that. Another tip I have is to make it a routine. I know people don't like this one, but I gotta say it. Let me tell you the benefits of making drawing a part of your daily routine. A routine, a habit. Yeah, womp. Sounds weird since making art is often intuitive. If you start seeing creative activities as something to do daily, it will become something that feels normal. Before leaving the house, we always wash our faces, we always brush our teeth. So do that with the drawing part. Make it a habit. The key is to...
You also feel a lot better when it's a consistent habit like that, because it's like going to the gym, right? If you go to the gym in the morning and then you have a busy day and you do a bunch of other stuff the rest of the day, you feel good knowing that you did that one hard thing in the morning. You ate the frog right after you get up, as they say. You did the hardest thing. That's a saying, I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I heard that somewhere. But yeah, so it's the same thing with like writing or painting or doing any sort of art. If you make it part of your daily habit or your daily routine, then it feels weird almost not to do it because your mind is expecting you to do it. So yeah, you have to... It's difficult, but you have to also realize that you have 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, maybe spend less time on your phone or something. But everyone likes to complain that they're super busy, but while everybody's phone usage, whatever, is like 3-4 hours a day, you know what I mean? Scratch some time from that, maybe, and then put that towards your work, and that adds up over time.
Normalize drawing the same way you've normalized brushing your teeth or showering. Also, don't bully yourself or talk down on yourself just because you're not drawing. Have some mercy. Have mercy on your soul. This summer, I wanted to draw 24/7, but I traveled to Ivory Coast, and I just didn't draw there. It didn't feel like a priority to me once I got there. And I was okay with that for some reason, because I had been putting in the work consistently when I was in Sweden, and I was like, okay, it's fine. Like, if I don't draw right now, it's not like my skills are gonna fly away and leave me. Even on the plane on my way there, I was drawing, so I had the intention, but I changed my mind once I arrived. And that's fine. It's completely normal. You can literally do whatever you want the next day. Like, if you don't draw today, you can draw tomorrow. Being an artist isn't about constantly pushing yourself till you can't take it anymore. Sometimes you gotta be a little chill with yourself. Like, if you can't do it, you can't. Literally 2 weeks ago, I was at school. My head was hurting, and I was like, oh my God, I gotta finish my painting, oh my God. I couldn't. My body refused to cooperate. And sometimes you just gotta listen to what it has to say. Be gentle to yourself and your body, because those are the ones that need to be intact in order for you to be able to keep that creativity flowing. But at the same time, know when you're enabling laziness. Yeah, so that's what I had to share with you guys, because I had received a lot of comments in my last video about how people just were having a hard time starting with the winter arc and everything. But just remember that you don't gotta work hard, you just gotta work smart. Just like when you study, doing art that way helps you get back to doing what you love without feeling pressured into having everything be perfect. And remember, you can still be an artistic beast in your pajamas, period. I hope you found this video helpful and motivating to help you keep drawing despite any stressors that you have in life. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Mwah.
Go support her, guys. I put her channel... Well, I'll put her channel in the description. Amazing video, by the way. That was dope. Yeah, don't be too hard on yourself, but make sure that you're doing what you love every day so that you can get better, and then hopefully you can share that with the world. That's the goal, right? So, thank you guys for watching. That's it.